Feeling all of the amazing energy as usual. Welcome to the Aquarius season gift series. I don't always, for no reason, whatever. Who knows how this is going to go moving forward. But sign by sign, we're going through and we're giving each sign their Aquarian gift, which I'm so thrilled about. We have 4 signs left. Of course, you already know what the deal is and what this is going to be about before I do. Let's see. We've only got 4 signs left. I'm pretty excited to see who's following up. It's been great energy thus far. OMG, Virgo. Hello, Virgo. Energy. Let's find a good medium for Virgo energy. Ooh, Virgo. Welcome, Virgo energy. Welcome, Virgo. Let's get into Virgo. I couldn't be more excited about this series and just what it is and what it's done for me, and I hope you all feel the same. Virgo. Yes. The body, left foot arch. And the bottom of the deck is as it has always been. Okay, Virgo, let's see what's going on. Virgo, oh my God, some energy. So it says, left foot arch. The feet represent our willingness to step forward into situations that are new to us, unknown in their content or effect. Often, right about the time something new comes up in our life, we injure our foot or ankle. Interesting. If you have pulled the left foot arch card today, it reminds you that new situations and events in your life bring expansion to every aspect of your awareness. Whatever you do, don't resist what comes. Interesting. I mean, right off the top, I feel like Virgo is being prompted into this very, very new energy, is being intrigued by a very, very new energy, and I feel that there is typically an apprehension with new energies because of the purity and clarity of thought that comes with Virgo, the well-organized, well-arranged aspect of self that kind of really makes you feel like, you know, you're kind of in control, and so it can be sort of like slow to opening up to new experiences, and so at the bottom of the deck says it as it has always been, and I'm just super interested. Let's see, 36. Oh shit. As it has always been, there is nothing new in this world or even in creation. Isn't that interesting? Like, don't be receptive to new, but then the dichotomy of, and I think that's what you're coming from. You're coming from there's nothing new in this world or even in creation. And I feel like Virgo has this very cynical set approach of like, I can't be surprised. There's nothing in my life that can stimulate me. I feel like for a long time, Virgo has been very set in, you know, the parameters of your life, you know, the range of things that you can pull in for yourself. But other than that, there's not really anything that you feel like the universe could objectively like surprise you and bring you into a new world. So I feel like that's what this Aquarian energy is burgeoning, is giving to Virgo, which is a really big shift in, well, it's always kind of been that way, in that sort of creature of habit, to a much more interactive and prone to this sort of Uranian. I mean, you're going to have to get used to it, Virgo. It's like Uranus time. So it's going to be a lot of lightning strike new experiences, and so Virgo's really needing to assess like, how do you do in new experiences. It says there's constancy inherent within all that is to flow willingly within that constancy, adding your experiences to the entirety of your true identity. Knowing this, we can also realize that the choices we make have been made before. Therefore, we can bear not the burden of guilt, but of the fact that the choosing was ours and that the outcome was totally dependent on our intentions. In our singular choosing is the continuity of creation, choosing and learning from its own free will. So this is also what I feel like Virgo is owning, is that Virgo is coming to a place where wherever you are in your life, you are looking back at you are having the awareness that at the end of the day, there is no judgment for how, or control or judgment of the lack of control that you feel like you have when it comes to these new experiences that you're having. Maybe things not going your way, or maybe things not happening in a way that you anticipated, or maybe things happening outside of what you feel like. You're a pretty good read of these things. And all of that is really indicating this internal change that says, you know, we don't have to, at the end of the day, there's nothing to be scared of or upset about, because everything was of my own choosing. And then therefore everything that happens, like even the craziest thing that I feel like Virgo may be like trying to avoid, like even if the craziest thing happened, it would just be a direct response to whatever my intentions in that moment were. So this is about Virgo being able to realize, like, if things don't work out, or if things change, or if there's a new added situation that changes the context of things for you in your life, this is really about Virgo recognizing that, like, no matter how much I may want to judge or attach or be critical of it or focus on it, it's really more just about, like, reviewing what my intentions were and realigning those if the outcome that I got was not favorable for whatever I was wanting. So I think that's super interesting. We're going to do the African American Tarot for this Virgo, and I'm seeing Ace of Wands and the Empress. Yes, you see what I'm saying? There's sort of this barren energy with this Ace of Wands. Is interesting that it's barren mixed with this Empress. And I feel like when I think about that, it's like, for whatever reason, Spirit is showing me like infertility, for example, like, what we can learn from something not being fertile or from something not being right, and what to do with ourselves. And maybe Virgo is also dealing with how to connect to that divine abundance when we feel like maybe there's a mundaneness, because we're talking about sixth house. So this is about bringing like, you, even if you rule the domain of routine and daily commitments, Virgo, like, this is about allowing yourself to have this muse, is what I'm hearing. And it doesn't always have to be that every new beginning has to feel barren, because that's destined for you. Because I just feel like that Ace of Wands is like God's gift. But you know, when we look at barren, we have to really, if something feels barren, it's about also acknowledging the potential. Like, I think this is Virgo really addressing this attention span, or this high sort of level of standards that maybe you have, or judgments that you might have, where it's like needing to be able to find that, like, if things don't inherently also give you your directly what you want, right? Like, if you can't see, like, oh, that tree's no good because it doesn't have any fruit, but that's like the best tree in the Sahara, and it actually is the most abundant fruit. That's kind of what I'm getting right now for Virgo energy. And there's something new that's getting introduced that's going to help you break out of what has always been, and expecting that, oh, it's always going to be that way. And that's what I mean, the star energy, the truth. This is really big. This is really like being on full display. This is really about being completely visible. This is also about, like, really something that calls you out of your shell, something that calls Virgo out of its every day. Like, it's always been this way for me. Like, I feel like the universe is really presenting Virgo with this, like, holy cow. Like, I think Virgo may have been counting itself out, or just fallen into the mundaneness of upkeeping the routine, because, you know, yeah, I got to keep it going, but remembering that inspiration, that star. And we have the Six of Pentacles, and it has to do with Virgo not really getting back what they're putting in. Like, Virgo is the type of person who's like, I just do the work and I keep the maintenance, but they don't ever count themselves in as like someone who's viable for some sort of spot, like some sort. It's about matching that. It's about who you authentically are. It's about coming out of your shell. It's about standing and being seen and being visible and being at the heights because of what you can see. But this is also about the newness, the change, you know, the connection of experience, both holding sort of the intuition and then the possibility of that, and sort of being this conduit, Virgo. And it having to be connected with how you give and receive. Like, I feel like Virgo was not giving, was not inputting new energy, and was not providing like the new, like there's a being connected to the cycles, and every so often you get new matter. And I feel like Virgo was kind of felt stuck. Like, it was like, oh, there's nope, nobody ever feeds me anything new around here. I never get anything new around these parts. And kind of creating this sort of arc, this sort of caricature of like what Virgo is, and never really transcending or being honest about how Virgo is the purity, right? Like, you could see this naked woman on the top of this, and there's no sexualizing. There's just the magic of whatever it is that she's standing in, you know? And I think that that's the thing, is like Virgo needing to really step up and allow itself to be in the higher heights, to feel elevated. I also have a message about like elevating yourself, Virgo. You know what I mean? Like, you in practice, not just in ideals, like you've been obtaining these things, you have these visions, you've been given your equal portion, but then it's about how you look at it. Like you can't get the star and then be having like, oh, it's always been like, and sleep on the star is what I feel like the Virgo energy is doing, you know what I mean? Rather than embracing that you've had it. And this is what I mean, right? Because there's that same star energy in Virgo acting kind of almost helpless, like, oh no. Like, this is about Spirit 3 of Swords. The pain that Virgo can cause from not connecting to the vision, not seeing its not connecting its authenticity, thinking that something is out of its depth, or that it's victim to this, or that this has to be the outcome of what it is for her, and I can't help you, like I'm on the corner. Like, it's almost something to do with like the daring, the new adventure. Like, this man is like, I am not gonna commit to this new adventure of trying to help this same woman that I see. And it's really the authentic side of you. It's really the truest version of you, right? That you're not reaching for, that you were so used to like, this is how it always is and this is how it's always going to be. Maybe it's Pain Street. Maybe I always lose the things I want. Or maybe I'm just perpetuating. Maybe I'm projecting that like I have the star, but I act like it's at a distance. I don't know why I'm getting all of this energy. Like, you got this new thing, but you act like you can't have it or you can't enjoy it, right? Like, it's just going to be painful and it's going to be separateness. Seven of Wands, and this has to do with reconnecting to that primal wild side and looking at the sort of shadow aspects of self and realizing that the part of you that really desire, and this is it, the King of Wands in reverse. So again, this is what I mean. The King of Wands in reverse is the king who has all the power to light up your world, make all your fantasies come true with just the charisma. Oh, I'm sorry, the King of Swords. But that's what I mean. It's like you have the ability to live in truth and you have the awareness and the stature, but you are not... It's like, why stay in this scenario? It's an inner child wound. This is an inner child wound, Virgo. You are creating this paradigm of achieving the highest ideal, achieving the authenticity, going for it, and then over time, it becomes this energy of, oh, I can't try for it anymore. There's like a complacency, you know, that I'm seeing with this card, King of Swords in reverse, right? Is like, he's bullshitting, you know what I mean? Like, this is bullshit. We can tell it's we can tell, like, because the King of Swords is the king you really can't bullshit, the side of yourself that's like, you can't lie to me, you can't da-da-da-da. And I feel like what's the motivation here is so obviously not about this. Like, it's like you've gone out and you've created this life about obtaining this authenticity or this ideal, but the real truth is that you are still focusing on what it's always been, the fighting and the surviving and the towering and having to face the shadow. It's like still a shadow wound, you know, at an inner child level. Like, this is something that for Virgo is you're breaking out of. This King of Swords, like where you are now, the reason your King of Swords is in reverse in this moment has to do with an inner child wound. And I'm also seeing like Virgo may have lost something. Like, I feel like something may have... Again, it's really an inner child wound. We'll just keep going, but this is super interesting. Six of Wands, exactly. So here's how it goes. You know, Virgo is... the biggest thing is what's in your face, the star, the authenticity, who you are reflected. This could be internal, this could be in partnership. And this is where we realize, like, when we let go, when we just always focus, like, it's also like our relationship to the new. Like, things aren't better because they're shiny or new. You might be running into that where it's like, oh yeah, but there's always going to be a better thing, so it's always just the same old, like not putting in any effort because things are always going to be the same, or because like, the outcome won't really change, and that really affecting you because you really got gifted something really important here, you know what I mean? And it's not even a problem because it's going to take you back to the inner child wound, right? The Seven of Wands here, that's kind of telling the story about a time where, you know, you were really trying to stand up for what you believed in, and maybe you were taken advantage of, or you were vulnerable in that way. You know what I mean? And this is the part where that heals this Aquarius season. It heals. The six wands that were once formed against you can really heal when you address that, this type of running behavior, this lack of effort, this it's always this way for me. It's always going to be like that. Like, in theory, yeah, I could like try or put effort into these new things that I have, this new expression of myself, right? Because again, the problem is like having the star and not activating it, being this person and not activating it. Like, that's the the world card here is really saying that we're at the end of that. You know, this is the completion. You have completed a cycle that has made you lose out on these pure ideals, these pure visions of what it can be for you. And it having to do with, as it has always been, like this relying on the fact that like there was an ordinariness, and thinking that because you rule the ordinary, Virgo, that it was an ordinary story for you, and it's not. And you don't have to and it's the way that you treat yourself. You treat yourself as this ordinary aspect, and in your life you may have all these extraordinary things that feel connected to you, but they're feeling a disconnect. They're feeling a disconnect because you're not acknowledging how extraordinary you'd have to be able to attract that. Like, these things, they think highly of themselves. They want to see the effort. They want to see you try. They want to see you align to this in yourself, because that's why it's here. But if we don't acknowledge this sort of inner child wounding, you know what I mean? That really felt like the odds were stacked against it to be victorious. This is that you were going through this bigger moment in life, this new experience, to really realize and to really go back and give yourself the victory, to recognize like these sticks didn't have to be against me. That's my own personal victory I'm not feeling. That's my own graduation I need to feel. That's the moving on, you know what I mean? Moving on, because the very reason that you can't keep these things, the very reason that these things that you see and you want so bad that they just all get taken from you, is because you're not done with this cycle. You know what I mean? Because you don't see the victory that you had with when you had them. And could be reflecting on your past. This could have been cycles you've been deeply in, Virgo. But when you heal that part of yourself that felt like it needed to always defend and be on top and never change, you know, because your inner child, when it gets told that there's something wrong with it and it feels like, I don't want to change, you can make a whole personality out of that, you know. And all you have is this stimulus, this Aquarian energy that says like, I want you to see that in yourself. You have it, it's here, but it also respects itself. You know what I mean? And for you to allow it to be put into danger is a surefire way to not get to connect to it any further. And so what I'm really seeing for Virgo is this energy of, we are now finally completing this cycle. We are completing the way that we think that we need to approach it. I'm going to clarify this with, so we'll clarify the star, because I feel like I just kind of want to do that for Virgo. The star, the 5 of Swords, exactly. You see what I mean? You will end up cutting yourself right off from the supply you need, and you'll be sending yourself on a new journey all the same. You know what I mean? Because you think that the star is necessarily lost. You will cut any spectacular timeline you have before you even can realize what it is. You know, because that's what you think is destined for you. You just think it's about defending and loss and being prepared to strike, and that's it. And that nothing extraordinary is happening other than war and challenge. And that's how you process your own star. That's how you process the thing that was available for you. And this is what I mean, the 9 of Cups here, right? Like a forced independence. An independence that you now have because you are now mourning, you know, the parts of yourself that the company you were keeping, or the stagnancy, or the bullshit. Because I feel like these 3 cups that you were focused on, they were spilled. You were trying, like, you have this capacity for the 2 of Cups, but if you only limit yourself to, you know, 3 of Cups, you never want to go deeper. You never really want, I feel like Virgo was having a very authentic star energy in their life and wasn't acknowledging how that relationship was connecting. They wanted to focus on everything else. And I think you can answer a lot of your questions for yourself, Virgo, right? When you realize, like, if I actually looked at what the connection was, I could answer. I don't have to be sitting here just starting drama, or just, because ultimately you're not moving. Ultimately, you're not choosing anything. You're not making, this is just kind of, you know, where, you know, a miracle can really happen, where you can really take that chance to activate the sun, right? Because this is an inner child wound. That's what I'm talking about, Virgo. You are healing something that is deeply inner child. And it has to do with shadow really telling you, it's almost like needing you to be civilized, needing you to be a certain way at against the odds or the will or the magic of other things when you were really far too vulnerable for that. And it's the way that you protect yourself from not wanting to be vulnerable ever again. But here's the thing, you have to be vulnerable. You have to allow you have to grow. Virgo's at a point where like you're gonna need a new experience after a while here. You can't just collect a life of like everything that's ever been because you're terrified of a new expression. You have to go back and heal the part of your inner child that doesn't think that it's capable of making that new expression, that doesn't think it's capable of taking on a new journey because it wasn't feeling safe in its last one. It affects your ability to be the emperor, to provide for your own empire, to be who you are. What kind of emperor are you going to be? Are you going to be unhealed? Do you rule an empire, but you literally are just still prisoner to the ways that you can't move forward? You know what I mean? Are you always going to be ruled by these lower, baser, like, distractions that keep you not focused on the work or the truth of what's real for you? Right? So when you realize that you're the one who's going to have to take advantage of what's true for you, this is like premature communication. This is like the victory coming out. This is like having victory over that cycle and really going back and giving yourself and realizing that like through probably like trial and error, through like sending messages that just like with haste, like realizing that that doesn't do anything, right? Like I'm feeling like this Knight of Swords, Page of Swords energy is like you're going to get the successful completion and you're going to go back and realize that what you were looking for or projecting on other people, or what you felt you needed to defend, or what you felt was really just normal about you or average about you, is really the very things that you needed to just give yourself that others can't be responsible for. And it's going to realize that the truth for who you are might puncture how you feel about things or what you're ready to do, but this is a long needed, long awaited like move for you. You know, this is like really changing. This is wrapping it up. It says as it's always been, and it's the world. You know what I mean? So pay attention to all of this, Virgo. This has been such an interesting read, but I really feel like there is this, through this certain rejection and loss of like your relationship to your ideal, how you deal with that is really deeply connected to this literal inner child blockage. Where you just don't want to be taken advantage of and you don't want to be vulnerable, but vulnerability is the only way to embrace new experiences. So I see victory for sure this Aquarius season with over that. It may come through like the loss of like things that don't work for you or that aren't for you or whatever, but just know like you really are going to triumph over something that has really, I feel like, held Virgo energy hostage for such a long time. So congratulations to you. Happy Aquarius season. I'm so grateful for all of the energy that you put out, Virgo, and I wish you the best.